YPO, welcome back to the Hub in Davos. It's a great honor and privilege for me today to be with my friend Topp. Topp is the CEO and founder of BitCup. BitCup is the largest and most trusted blockchain and digital asset group of companies in Thailand. He's also the speaker of one of the Thailand's leading Bitcoin and open blockchain experts. What an important topic nowadays. He's also one of our most dynamic and young YPOers. And you have a real first unicorn company in Thailand in the segment of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
I'd like to address you a few questions. And obviously, you know, as we look at the cryptocurrency today, it's been on the top of the mind of so many YPOers due to the arrest of the FTX, of course, CEO Sam Bankman-Fried. As an expert in the field, what advice would you give to YPO members about investing in crypto?
Sure. First of all, hello YPO, a pleasure to meet you all, and thank you so much for inviting me to give an interview here at Davos. I've been in this space for 8 years now, and in the past 8 years, there's so many incidents. The industry is quite volatile because we are still in a very early stage. But the developments or the growth of developments is very fast, yeah, in the past 8 years. And there are more and more emphasis and more discussions, even at Davos. World Economic Forum is putting more emphasis. They see the importance of digital assets and blockchain more and more each year, and they are adding more and more members, blockchain members, to meet at Davos every year. Last year was a tough year for everyone in the cryptocurrency space. The unregulated players like FTX is messing the industry up, and the regulated players are being punished by the upcoming stricter regulations. My advice to YPO is to differentiate between what we call a short-term noise and a longer-term vision. Like Warren Buffett is saying, when the tide goes out, you will see those who are swimming naked. Right? The market would self-select the bad actors and the good actors. Right? Eventually, in the long run, there'll be a natural selection happening. And in this industry, if you are wanting to get started, I would advise to create an account with regulated exchanges. There are only a few right now in the world compared to all the unregulated exchanges. But regulated exchanges are more compliant. We have better governance. We have transparency. For BitCup, for example, we are fully regulated under the Thai SEC. Right? Then you could ensure that your funds are safer. We cannot use customers' deposits like what FTX did. Everything is kept in a one-to-one manner, dollar to dollar, right? And additional regulations is coming up, where we would need to have an additional NCR on top of already what we practice, a one-to-one deposit amount. So in the short term, people are panicking, but over the long term, if this is not a real breakthrough, or if it is just a hype, why would World Economic Forum invited more and more members to Davos, right? Why would billions and billions of dollars are being invested in the blockchain space or in the digital asset space? All the traditional banks are talking about blockchain. All the stock exchanges, most of the stock exchanges, exploring DLT, blockchain. Central banks, they are talking about CBDC, central bank digital currency. So obviously these are like the future vision of where the world is heading. But we have to differentiate between these short-term noises that we have to, eventually, these are events would self-select between the good and the bad actors in the short term. But it doesn't mean that the industry is bad, right? I guess the best analogy to explain to YPO is this: the FTX incident is equivalent to the collapse of Lehman Brothers. Right? The collapse of Lehman Brothers doesn't mean that dollar is a bad system. There are two separate layers: the protocol layers and the application layer. Or one company mishandling the fund doesn't mean that dollar system there's a flaw in it. Right.
So you're confident that somehow part of the storm is passing, because how do you feel about the trust of the financial systems that for the investors at the moment? You don't think that so many people have been touched with this aftermath of FTX? You think that the curve of people being very frightened and the lack of trust is already passing, or we are going to still have a longer period of time before the trust returns in your industry?
With the FTX incident, about 1 million people is impacted, so quite a few. But the way to gain trust is to run a business in a more compliance way. More compliance, we have to talk about governance, we have to talk about transparency on regulated exchanges and on centralized exchanges in general. But before we can improve on governance, on transparency, the urgency is that we have to standardize, governance everywhere on all the centralized exchanges around the world, and transparency everywhere. We need standardization, right? And once we are able to master standardization, we will have better governance and better transparency, then trust will come, right? And eventually, if there are real world use cases, right? If the product is a much better product than previous products, then people would choose what is best for them. There'll be more and more adoption, eventually in the long term, right? If you talk, and also another way to improve trust is to show the world blockchain use cases. Right? I was on stage, this week at World Economic Forum, talking about tokenization, on the application of blockchain technology, how we can upload all kinds of values onto the internet now. Tokenization would be the foundation of the digital economy. I guess the best way to explain this to YPO is this. 20 years ago, with the arrival of the internet, we already uploaded all types of information online. Now all the communication is online, all the advertisement is online, right? All the interaction is online. But when we talk about values, everything is still in a physical form. When we talk about gold, we are still touching this yellow stone, right? When we talk about money, we are still killing trees, paper-based money. But eventually, the world is moving towards a more digitalized, economy. One of the main reasons is because of this sustainability issue as well. We can't, continue to kill trees to produce more paper money going forward. That's not a sustainable way, going forward. So I think, with the tokenization of blockchain, we can upload all types of values online, and it will be the underlying foundation of the digital economy, where information is in a digital format as well as values is in a digital format. A quick explanation what blockchain is able to provide to our world is this: internet creates digital abundance. Blockchain creates digital scarcity. Once we are able to have this, invention of digital scarcity, we can create a digital representation of all kinds of values. Tokens are a digital representation of, in the future, of carbon credit, of money, of gold, of government bonds. We can tokenize FX. We can tokenize electricity units, where every household can trade, electricity peer-to-peer. So these are the real-world applications that private companies are innovating going forward. And with standardization, then it comes better governance and transparency. But over the long term, with more use cases, then people will see that, this is a much better product, and people would choose what is best for them in the long term.
Very interesting. And talking really long term, talking 5 to 10 years from now, I know you're visionary in your segment and sector, crypto, digital. What do you see the future? What excites you the most as you wake up and you look very long term? What's going to be next?
with the blockchain as an underlying foundation to upload all types of value online, meaning that we will see a even more interconnected world. All the liquidity, there will be full interoperability between different industries. Imagine we can tokenize in-game assets. Imagine we can tokenize a fractional ownership of real estates. We can tokenize, a fraction of, gold, diamonds, copper, electricity unit, carbon credit, right? And we can pool everything together with full interoperability across industries. We can share the liquidity pool, right? It would create a more efficient market, more efficient and more financial inclusion, right? Right now, with the current financial market, it discriminates. The rich gets access to a better product than the poor, right? People sitting on a big chair at Wall Street get access to better investment opportunities than those who were born in Africa. But with a phone that is connected to the internet and with the blockchain technology, with full interoperability of liquidity of all asset classes, meaning that this technology is going to democratize investment opportunities for everyone, as well as it is becoming a new fundraising method for every industry going forward, as well as providing inclusion and fairness to everyone in the global economy. Right now, 2 billion people are currently excluded from traditional banking. Right? We're not having a full inclusive economy yet, but with technology, right, it allows us to democratize opportunities for everyone. So I think the most exciting future for me is the future of tokenization, where we can upload, where we can have a digital representation of all kinds of values. We have already achieved this in the past with the internet, how we uploaded all kinds of information online. And it democratized freedom of speech, right? It democratized velocity of information and communication. We will be achieving the same thing, but in the value exchange manner in the future.
Great, thank you very much. Top. One very last questions. We're already halfway through Davos in this week. Loads, of course, of very important topics: climate change, cybercrime, sustainability. For you, if you could walk out of this week choosing a cause, choosing a dynamic, an impactful dynamic, where we really see a meaningful change for the world in this World Economic Forum, what would you choose?
To be honest, what I have learned from this trip is that there are many urgent crises, urgent issues, and they are all interlinked, interrelated. We talk about sustainability, we talk about the need for digital economy, we talk about diversity, inclusion, fairness, right? Collaboration. There are many urgent issues, and some are beyond the point, of turning back. But walking out of this place, and the one thing that I can ask for would be collaboration. We're in a fragmented world, and these are issues that we know private companies or one government can fix. Can fix everything alone by themselves. We need to achieve this unprecedented level of collaboration in order to fight all these urgent issues. Humans, we have overcome, we have made miracles in the past when there's a sense of urgency, right? And I would like to share with you, YPO here, that there's a sense of urgency, right? With these, key issues, whether it is climate change, climate adaptation, sustainability, inequality, inclusion, diversity. But we have to come together to an unprecedented level of collaboration. We cannot do this alone. We talk about, people started to talk about private and public partnership, because We are not in a generation where private companies can do this alone, or government can achieve things alone anymore. We need so to answer your question in short, an unprecedented level of collaboration.
Great. Top, thank you so much for being with us at the YPO Hub.